Hello, everybody. In the last video, we did a best case scenario for the Republicans for the 2024 Senate elections. This time, we're going to do the inverse of that, the best case scenario for the Democrats in the 2024 Senate elections. Now, the Republicans, they have quite the advantage with the Senate map. So, Democrats are going to not have as big of a majority as the Republicans would in a best case scenario. So, let me just fill in the safe Dem states. There's a lot of them on here. So, that'll definitely help them out. Maryland is not one. I always keep forgetting about that because Larry Hogan's doing extremely well there for a Republican. Yeah, Maine's definitely safe Democratic. Minnesota, Amy Klobuchar, she wins by landslides like all the time. New Mexico would also put as a safe state in a best case scenario for the Democrats. Same with Virginia too, because in a best case, I see Kane winning by over 10%. So New Mexico, Virginia, got all those states done. Is there any other ones? Let's go to the safe Republican states. I think that'll be a good start. So Wyoming, Utah, North Dakota, even West Virginia, in a best case scenario for a Democrat, that's self-safe Republican. And Nebraska's special election. The reason it spill in Nebraska at large is in a best case scenario in this normal Nebraska election, because the independent candidate here actually is polling fairly close to the Republican. In a best case scenario, the independent candidate could bring it down to a likely R win. And Democrats aren't running a candidate statewide in Nebraska, which is smart of them for the Senate race here. In Missouri, hypothetically, yeah, in a best case scenario, could see Lucas Kunz bringing down Hawley down to a likely Republican victory, but that's the best case he could bring it down to. It's still a extremely Republican state. I think it went R plus 15 or R plus 16 about 2020, I'm pretty sure. It's still a very Republican state, so I really doubt that margin would even happen. Moving on to Maryland, in a best case scenario, Hogan gets defeated by double digits. It could very well happen by September, October. These people supporting Hogan don't want the Republicans to control the Senate, so they vote against him come that time. So in a best case scenario, he loses by over 10%. That could very well happen. It's a D plus 30 state after all. So it's very Democratic leaning. In Florida, even in a best case scenario, it still stays Republican. Even though Rick Scott isn't the most popular candidate, it still is just a very Republican state. Party registration, it's almost a million Republicans in this state over Democrats in terms of party registration numbers, which is just crazy how fast it is shifting in Florida at this rate. It's like a breakneck speed that they're turning Republican, but still, it's a lean Republican state, even in a best case scenario for Democrats. So moving on to Pennsylvania, it would probably still be in the likely D category. Maybe you could go to safe blue, but I don't know. I would put it at like a D plus 9% victory. I think that's the best case he could win by here. It's still in a general election year. Nevada and Arizona. Arizona, Lake could lose by a likely blue margin. Honestly, in a best case scenario, it could very well happen. Nevada, it still wouldn't be likely blue. I'd still put it as a lean blue state. Michigan is an open seat, so there's no real incumbency advantage there, so that's why it's still lean blue. And Tammy Baldwin and Eric Hovde, it's so far shaping up to be like a narrow Democratic lead here, so even in a best case scenario, I would still put it as a lean blue seat here. I still think Hovde isn't a terrible candidate. He's probably an upgrade from the other Republicans that could have ran here, or the other Republicans in the race that are in the primary that are just nobodies. So it would still be lean blue in a best case scenario for Democrats. Montana, it would probably be lean blue in a best case scenario. Again, maybe more Sheehy scandals come out, or Tester just continues to hold that high approval rating, and he uses it to coast himself into re-election. Ohio, in a best case scenario, Sherrod Brown, I could see him winning by 2% like Tester in Montana. We could just see Bernie Moreno just never lead a poll, and then just Sherrod Brown ends up winning due to ticket splitting. Because, again, we saw in the Ohio Senate race and governor's race, we saw the governor's race went overwhelming Republican, while the Senate race was a lot closer. It was like a 6-point margin there for J.D. Vance. He only won by like 6 or 7 points, while the governor won by like 20 to 30 points. So it's a pretty huge difference there. So Ohio still shows a tendency to ticket split, which is one thing that's good for Sherrod Brown going into this. So in a best case scenario, he wins by 2% as well. And starting with Texas. Now, this is a really tough one to call here. So far, Ted Cruz, he leads by around 5 percentage points. But the only way he would lose is if Trump only wins Texas by a tilt Republican margin. And in a best case scenario, that could very well happen, because what if Trump's sent to jail? That could certainly hurt him in the state of Texas, but he would still narrowly win it by a tilt margin. But that's the key there. Trump only wins it by a tilt margin. So in a best case scenario, Democrats would probably be able to unseat Ted Cruz here. Again, Ted Cruz, he struggled in 2018 to win. He only won by about 3 points or something like that, or just under that. So again, it's possible that Democrats could unseat him, especially if Trump only wins Texas by a tilt Republican margin, because Ted Cruz would probably underperform Trump in the state of Texas due to his unpopularity here with like independents and stuff like that. And some Republicans don't like him. So it's possible. I really doubt this will be the map. Kind of like with the Republican map, which I really doubt would happen either, but this is just a best case scenario. This is not my actual prediction. My actual Senate prediction would probably be either like 51 Republicans, 49 Democrats, or 50-50 Senate. I haven't decided on that. I'm going to do a video on that in May as I just reanalyze the race for that month. But this is the best case scenario for the Democrats in the 2024 Senate election. So let me know what you think of this video down in the comments below. If you're new to this channel, highly recommend subscribing. And other than that, thanks so much for watching. I'll see you all in the next one.